Well, what's the crack, everybody? How are you getting on? Welcome to another episode of the Tom and Mahony Show. It is Friday the 17th. How are you keeping? You good? Great to have you. Welcome to another episode. This is ticking along nicely this year, isn't it? If you were a Patreon, of course you would have gotten this last night. I had 3, and that's one of the benefits. I know. It's just the housekeeping that has to be done. The Patreon is there. It's beautiful. We've got a gang of people after joining in the last couple of weeks because I think mostly they wanted to go over and see the new show, Clattered, which is put up in January. And it's getting a great reaction. If nothing else, if you're like, I don't want to see nothing, Tom. I just want to listen to this with no ads. Well, that's where to go. But also you're like, I don't mind the ads, Tom. What I want to hear is just you talking like a maniac midweek by yourself, answering our questions and whatnot. Well, I got you there too. Go on away over to the Patreon. Look in the show notes. Click on through. All things Tom are in the link in the show notes. Find whatever you need to find. It's all there. From Patreon to the YouTube page. All that stuff. All that stuff is there. Do you know? So do what you gotta do. If you want more of the Tom stuff, we of course have another brand new podcast out at the minute called Banana and Bears Rugby Pod. It's myself and Anna Capeless having an alternative good crack view at the Six Nations. We're on episode 3 and people are loving it. There's people talking about it in Australia and everything. It's just a different view on rugby. 2 kind of mad jokes having a not nerdy but very enthusiastic chat about the Six Nations, and it seems to be going well. We haven't fallen out, and that's a bloody good sign so far. There is of course episodes of the Tom and Mahony Show, yes there is, and the Tom and Jerry Show. It's Tom heavy over there. If you haven't heard of the Tom and Jerry Show, treat yourself. There's 7 seasons of it there, with an 8th one being written at the minute. So we'll be recording that in March. So hold on to your hats for the people that were wondering. Gigs coming up, as you hear this now. I'll be in Cork tonight the 17th. I'm in the Coco Comedy Club. Tomorrow night I'm in Athenry with Neil Delamere. And the following week, Friday, can't remember where I am, but the Saturday night, most importantly, the 25th, I am with myself. I'm at my comedy club, the Hill Comedy Club in Cahir in County Tipperary, with Barry Murphy of Après Match and a rake of other things, and the great Paul Crowley, who's been on the podcast before. 2 guys are going to be there with me. Tickets are going nicely, so if you're thinking of coming to the Hill, get yourself on board. You'll see the brand new stage curtains and a brand new sign after being made by the great Mick Walsh. I'll be posting about that profusely when I get my hands on it early next week. But other than that, do you know what? That's all you need to know. Moving on to today's guest, he is one of the loveliest men you'll ever meet. He's 110%. He educated me throughout this from the very, very beginning, not least on the venture that we're probably going to have to get some seed money for. Anybody got any cash out there that you were thinking, these 2 guys know what they're talking about? We're investing in water. Yeah, I know, sounds like everybody's getting into water, but we're going to do it in cans. Not the place where the films in France. No, actual cans. Look, you know what? Do yourself a favour. Sit back and relax and enjoy the brilliant Aaron Butler. Jesus, straight out the gate. Aaron, you are the coolest bastard. I did not realise. Seriously, you're, for the audio listeners, Aaron is genuinely drinking still water from a can. To the people who can see this, just go over and become a patron to go see a man. Like, this is the level of this is where the podcast is at now. We're like, that is so G.
Tom, as you know, the northern comedy scene's booming.
I was just gonna you fuckers, you let fucking Kevin Hart in the door, and look what's happened to the lot of you.
we refuse bottles now. I wouldn't be caught dead with one. I have a subscription to this that comes to my house every month in a 24-pack. That's how sad I am. That's also a testament to me not having a wife or kids, because if I had a wife or kids, a wife would go, catch yourself on the fuck, you idiot. You're just going to drink out of the tap like every other schmuck. But no, I'm a delicate little prince, Tom.
That is, you've never did you say true words about, well, I don't know about being a delicate prince, but like, yeah, that would not enter. Like, my wife tolerates me buying stupid shit, but when it got to water, man, I'd have to do some justifying. But I remember being single and by myself, I used to drink things like Remy Martin on a Tuesday by myself.
I
What
don't know
like
who he is, but look,
he was a hell of a guy.
whatever you're into, Dom, I'm not going to judge you. You know, but yeah, look, it's the single man thing, isn't it? Because when
Yeah,
you're a single man, you don't have that other voice of logic and reason being like, no, maybe don't buy like 8 frozen pizzas, maybe like buy some vegetables. You just live on the edge 24/7.
I love it. But the thing is, you're self-critical enough and smart enough to know to go, this is fucking stupid. I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah, I'm past the point of even helping myself. I'm like, why am I trying to lie to myself? Why am I trying to not be the person who I truly am, Tom? I'm the guy that drinks a tin of water. I just gotta accept it.
Where's it made? Like, it can't. Don't say Northern Ireland, even though Northern Ireland is like Little LA right now. It's ridiculous. It's gonna be some place making it.
Little LA, I love that little nickname you're giving us. It is somewhere Austria. This one's made in Austria, and this is my preferred. Now, there's more. Here's what you'll see, and here's a little Tom. New you get guys that are like, oh, here's the next crypto coin to buy. Here's the
Yeah,
next fucking invest. I'm telling you now, Tom, the canned water market in Ireland is about to boom. It's but there'll be companies everywhere doing their own tinned water in America. Because I was in Miami last month, and they've like 8 different brands of just still canned water. The most popular one is one called Liquid Death, and they market it to make it look like a beer tin, but all it is still water, but it looks like a beer tin. It's insane, this stuff.
fucking bastards are playing with my mind. The thoughts of that, like,
Google it.
what?
I'm telling you, if you look at the tin, it's like a huge tin you would like see someone painting at someone's house party with. Liquid Death, it's called, and it looks cool as fuck. But all it is still water.
It's such a jump. Like, why is it too much of a jump for normal people, like regular folk, to think like when you drink water in a bottle, you drink anything else in a can. But as soon as they put water in a can, it's like putting it in a fucking shoe and selling it. Like, I don't know why. It's like precious stuff is supposed to be inside a can of water's like, well, whatever, water. But like, you'll give 350 for a fucking Pellegrino. Like, well,
Yeah. Well, they market this by saying, look, oh, the cans recycle forever, guys. So you're doing great for the environment. But I'm pretty sure they recycle plastic too. So who
yeah.
are we trying to fool here? It's all a conspiracy, Tom, is what I'm saying. And yeah.
Do you know what's even better for the environment? Drinking it straight from the fucking tap and washing the vessel again. Yeah, I'm just hey, why would I speak logic? Why would I speak
Why
logic?
not to me especially? You're trying to sell to the wrong guy, Tom. I'm already brainwashed. I'm already a shareholder.
This is, but I'm serious. I thought that popped into my head many moons ago that Northern Ireland has become Little LA. Because it seems like every venture that you're thinking of that has popped up in LA, or I'm guessing now, other cool places around America, like there's no end to people making cool t-shirts, man. Like the amount of people that have followed me as a result of playing a lot in Belfast, but like you're going,
Mm,
you doing what? How
yeah.
you you take the stitching out of people's trainers and you stitch in Batman symbol? What the fuck? You're
Mm.
making a living from that? Holy
Yeah,
shit!
one of my favorite things of the internet has to be the amount of sort of side businesses
Yeah,
that people could start. Like, for example, you got like pages popping up being like, oh, hula balloon. It's like, we'll come to your house and hula hoop and blow a balloon and do a kid. You know what I mean? It's like they just create, and it's like always finishes in NI, like hula balloon NI, shoe stitching NI, fucking, hire a donkey NI. There's all these little things that would have. I love these wee stores that people make in niches, and yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, really.
well, you see, I suppose for the longest fucking time, you would have gotten the back of your neck slapped, going, "Come on to fuck." Whereas we still have that a bit here,
Uh
But I notice when I notice it, I notice it a lot because I have a kid now and I'm trying to deviate him away from watching anything American because of fucking the thought of my child saying we take out the trash. I like, you're going back. I
so
just
yeah, yeah.
what I noticed the last day when the last time I was hanging out with you was in Lavery's, and I walked nearly across the city, but the amount of kids that had strong American accents, I'm like, this now isn't fucking right at all. At all. This isn't.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, me and Andrew Ryan, who I do a podcast with, were saying the other day, we were saying like 30, 35 years ago in Northern Ireland, you know, you would have walked down and you would have been afraid, bombs, troubles, conflict, blah, blah, blah. And now you're looking on, all we have to worry about now is these fucking kids with these American accents.
Yeah.
And I said to Andrew, I was like, sometimes I watch a TikTok video of these kids and I go, maybe we should bring the troubles back. If
Yeah.
this is what we're, if this is what, if this is
Maybe
what Northern Ireland's becoming, maybe we bring it back.
nip that shit. It is. Yeah, it was. I guessed it would have happened. And you need only look around Belfast on an average even to realize it's going to happen, because there are more versions of falafels to be had. And fucking fucking
What is in a falafel? What's in it?
fucking a whole pile of desperation. That's what's in it, Aaron. Fuck's sake.
My life, yeah.
You
know,
yeah. It warmed my heart to see how cool the place was gone, but at the same time, it was like, wind it small back in, lads. Wind it a small bit back in. We don't need all of this. This is like, we're lads, chopsticks. We went for food the next day, and myself, get us, and Niall went the lads started picking up chopsticks.
That's that. Them boys are big chopstick boys.
And that's what, but I felt my point was valid. They were like, yeah, but they weren't like, you're culturally appropriate, I mean, no, there's a reason why I'm not eating with knitting needles, because years ago, many moons ago, somebody put a knife in somebody's hand and a spiky thing in the other that works way fucking better than two fucking knitting needles.
Thank you. Why are we going backwards in life? Why are we still... It doesn't improve the taste. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It's not doing any that. It's just, all it is you going, I'm better than you because I have some dexterity in my fingers. That's all it is.
But and I know, unless you're doing something all the time, you know what I mean? You fucking, when was that? You getting a bike? Last time you got in a bike 10 years ago, you're going to fall off the fucking thing. Yeah, you'll cycle it, but you look like a fucking tit. Even you stop comedy for a while, you're rusted the first time. The boys are not eating every piece of fucking food with a chopstick. So when you look over and you see there's an Asian family next to us and they're just flying the thing into their mouth, and the lads are going, kind of working their tongue creepily into the fucking equation as well. You're like, there's no need. They've given us forks and knives. We're not going to get in trouble.
No, I think Colin does eat every meal with chopsticks. I believe like cornflakes, toast, most
and
things.
Water. Yeah.
Yeah. He drinks just like soup. He just straight uses the chopstick. Colin loves his Asian cuisine, I'll say that. And if you ever do a gig or a tour gig with Colin, you better like Asian food, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, he introduced me to some things that they were tasty if you looked away.
Oh, they are.
If you look away.
Right. You don't like this? Yeah, it moves. It moves a little bit.
Oh, that's love. That's gelatinous now. That's good. Yeah. Oh, that's not.
But look, the good thing about the sort of, the Belfast and Northern Ireland and the mini LA people that come through and, all these little trends that pick up is that as comedians, we get to just rip the absolute bag out of them. And it almost is like, oh, you're making my job so easy. Oh, so much just things you can pick up on comedy ways, like how we used to do things, how things are going now, and especially as you get older, and maybe it is a bit of an old man thing where you look and go, these fucking kids and they're
it is
cool.
it
is, but it's fun to poke fun at that too.
Well, I opened with that night, and I'm kind of trying to work create a new bit, and it's about how Northern Ireland has come so far to a point that, and I got getting abused one evening after a gig, but in the funniest way possible. Like, because people say from South Tipperary, where I'm from, no grasp of what Belfast is like now. Maybe they had when they were up there to get a pair of shoes in the 80s. But there is the divide. But I'm like, no, you have no idea. Now the scariest thing is that somebody doesn't have the right syrup for your latte. Like, that's that's terrifying. If they don't, this has saccharin in it, you can fuck off. Like,
yeah. They're like, you don't want to go up to Northern Ireland. They're like, why are the English back? They're like, no, they think they're cool. That's why it's even worse. But yeah, look, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be, and it's the TikToks that annoy me. Like, there's some TikTok people that I see and I go, what way were you raised?
Yeah, but that goes the world over. Like, there's I've seen a few people, and I'm guessing by their accent they're not far from me, and I'm kind of going, what? No, what? What? you're doing this unashamedly out in public, right? Okay, I thought you to be American or of another breed of a Latino at least to be raised with that level of self confidence in public. You are supposed to have some inner shame. This is fucking come on now.
What? Yeah, but do you think as well, are we just, I don't know, do we have maybe a real negative outlook on it, or we are just so like, I don't know if it's a pride thing, but in America, you go there, there's fucking, they're doing anything. They're
Anything.
lifting weights in public, they're filming it, they're man. I went to a beach in Miami. This woman was on a beach, full bikini, 60-year-old lady, fucking leathery skin, like you could imagine, typical
Nice.
Floridian woman,
Yeah.
and was just walking on the beach doing this as she was walking with two small weights, headphones in her ears, not giving a fuck. And you're going, if you were to see that in Ireland, they'd be getting shot for it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then it's like, but then you look and go, all these American people, they go out and do the whole vlog thing. They put their camera down, they film themselves, they dance in public, blah, blah, blah. And then you see someone doing that in Ireland, you go, fucking wind your neck in, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, you see, you
And,
have to have one.
it's that, yeah.
Yeah, you have to have one identity or the other. You know what I mean? If we all were those
Mm.
dickheads, then there has to be a. Now, at the same time, I'm sure they look at the way we swear abundantly in public at each other and go, "Oh my god, oh my god!" Like we will like across a restaurant, you go, "You guess, cunt," and that would blow their fucking brains out through the back of their head. Although, no, they have plenty of objects in their pocket that will do that, But
just go to a school. I'm sure you can get that done for you. The in that country, Jesus Christ. So it is what it is. But
I suppose
yeah,
it is. It
the
is a
culture
level.
difference is fine.
Yeah, it is a level of cynicism coming from comedians too. We have to be some way cynical, like you have to be. But I do think there's an age barrier. I'm seeing it now, right in my child. They are lovely people. They're actually.
What age is your child?
He's 3, right? But they're lovely
Okay.
people at now.
3-year-olds.
No, they actually, when I say
Oh,
lovely, they're fucking maniacs, right? But there's love in them.
right,
And there's outward
right.
expressions of, I love you to other people in their class. And
Yeah.
they say this to each other. And I'm going, if that was said when I was in primary school, like there'd be a priest and a fucking exorcism needed. This would be a horror show. That word, I didn't hear that word only on American television. And then maybe when I was in my late 20s, I didn't, but they're so outwardly emotional, and you're going, oh, you might end up crazy, or you might end up okay, or you might end up American. I don't know. Like it'll be interesting to see what the spin-off is to this in 10 years, 15, 20 years time, like what he's going to be like, or what all his friends are going to be like.
Yeah, it's the 20 years from now that kind of worries me a little bit more because it's just going to get a bit more extreme. But that's funny what you're saying about the whole they tell each other they love each other and stuff like that. That would never have went down in my school of St. Kevin's in West Belfast, let me tell you. If I were to start telling all the kids I love them, the response would be you're a fruit, and then the next response would be, well, because I went to an all-boys school, so that would also be a little bit weird back then.
Yeah.
I was the first kid to wear hair gel in my school.
Oh,
I was the first kid to wear hair gel in my school, and I got fucking obliterated for it. I called, oh, you gay, you fucking all these, you pansy, you woofter, you put, like, you name it. I was every homosexual slur under the sun. I called myself them as well. It's fine. But it was, and that was all it took. Now everyone does it, so I don't know what way it goes in 20 years' time. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe we all a bit more love in the world, but then they have to be a bit hardened too, Tom. They have to be a bit, have to be a bit calloused.
I think they're like I don't know. As my wife, who is a very lovely person, she's she's a very nice person and good soul. Whereas I'm rotten into my marrow. You know what I mean? Like there's no two ways about it. I am but she was saying, she goes, I think this is just for now, Tom. Because you have to remember too, we've moved him back to the countryside. These kids are as hard as fucking nails. They are too. Like I mean, so they're
right.
They're a different breed to where he would have been born up in South Dublin, like not a different fucking humanity altogether. So it'll be interesting to see how long it lasts, if it does last. But I'm not overly worried either. Do you know that kind of, because people are like, oh my god, what if they turn up with blue hair and they're a they them? era. That house shit fucking. That's just because their kids are bored. That's all that is. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. That's
Yeah,
all that is.
that's true.
That's just
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
being bored. You know what I mean? There's relax. It's fine. Everybody wants to be part of a team of some sort, and everybody wants. I want to be an individual. No, you don't. You just want to be part of a team, and you found a
Right.
team. You just were no good at sports. That's all. That's fine. That's fine. You found your thing. That'd be fine. It's
Yeah, your sport is down your hair. That's your sport.
I was raging. I couldn't do. I started back in rehearsals for a play, so I was to do. Shane had messaged me about doing the boxing night a couple of months ago,
That's
and
right.
I couldn't because I knew this was coming back around again. I was like, I can't fucking commit to this because I'll end up looking like a prick. But it looked like it seemed like it was going to end up being a class night, and what lads were writing was almost emotional. How good of a night it was.
Oh, well, I think it was a few different reasons. Number one, like we very rarely, you do your Laveries and your
Yeah,
Empire and all the gigs that happen here, but very rarely would you ever get, a gig like that where every comedian goes to it in the North and comes together. And then we all like, unless it's maybe Christmas time, we all have a Christmas night out. And even then, like there's people that disappear and things like that.
yeah.
But that was like just such for the Northern Ireland comedy scene, it was almost like a celebration as much as it was a charity event,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, and I joked because they were all at the rehearsal during the day, and the boxing ring's just full of the entire comedy scene. And I was just like, if the roof or a bomb goes off in this building right now, I was like, the Northern Ireland comedy scene is fucked. It's
I'm
literally
moving
there's
to
no one.
Belfast immediately.
There's
Sure. To warn you all, but to absolutely mop up all of.
Oh, you'd be on Lavery's every week headlining because there'd be no one else left. So that's I was just like, hopefully Ulster Hall's secured enough here, and it was all good. But yeah, that was a reason why it was good. Another reason it was good was just because it all came together. Like, you worry sometimes. There's so much moving parts logistically, like getting the ring security, getting people to and from, seating, insurance, all this fucking like when you do stand up, the beautiful thing about it is you show up and there's a microphone and
Yeah.
you walk on and then it's the simplest fucking thing ever. See,
Isn't
anything outside of stand-up is a bollocks.
isn't it embarrassing nearly you turn up to do like a theatre show and they go, do you want to do a sound test? And you're like, yeah, is that Grant? Okay, I'll just head back. Yeah, we can hear you back here.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel sorry for the lads who are like guitar comedians. Like, oh, you have to carry that thing around with you. You're like, no, but that's all I carry. I went, look, yeah, but I just have my
I
pockets.
know. I
That's it.
know. I know like Sean Haggerty brings a whole briefcase every gig with like
It's
his
like Carrot Top
piano,
at this
his
stage.
lead.
Like, yeah.
I know, yeah, he is pretty much. I'm looking going, I can think of nothing else that would make me sadder in life than having to constantly be packing a briefcase to go do comedy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just right, absolutely. It stresses me out even looking at him. Bless him, but he's great. But yeah, so that was good. And then just the fights themselves were exciting. Like we had Dave Elliott was on commentary. I hopped on for a bit. Colin hopped on doing a bit of commentary. We sort of switched up. Aaron Butler comes out and does a song at the very start, and the audience goes fucking insane. It was just like this fun. It was something so different. You see your comedians that you see every week in a different scenario trying this sport. It was for a good cause too. It was for Pip's mental health charity. I think the stream alone maybe raised. I don't want to give an exact number, but look, it's in the tens of thousands. How much
What?
money? The street,
That's
yeah, because
amazing.
they had the Patreon. So the way they set it up was you subscribe to a Patreon page and that got you access to the link to watch the show live. And over 3,000 people subscribed to that link on the night. So if you imagine a fiver per subscription, over 3,000, obviously Patreon takes a cut, but there's a substantial amount of money. And that alone is just incredible to see.
Stop. That's incredible.
Yeah,
You know what?
yeah.
I just when you like you're talking about the water right now, we're joking that I put it up, it's about to explode. We really fucking should find some seed money and start it because people are, like it didn't. There's always like it's so simple the crossover. But I remember a gigging in London.
Yeah.
It must have been 7 or 8 years ago, and these couple of lads came up and they were like, they were like they were trying to always find those lads you meet. They're like a modern day. I don't know, Del Boy. Like they were like but they were very, very nice, very, very complimentary. I said, but they were going, what we should do, what I think we've been trying to work. I was like, to live stream gigs as well and sell tickets. And in my head, I'm going, who in fuck's name would want to watch comedy on their laptop live? Great idea, boys, but yeah, maybe for another dimension. And then all of a sudden, around comes fucking COVID, and all sorts of shit starts getting.
Oh,
And now, like the boxing the other night, you had your live streaming, so your tickets being sold to people, remotely as well, and it was a perfect idea. And these motherfuckers, I hope they ran with it. I hope they didn't listen to my cynical arsed ways. Going, that's a terrible idea, boys. Terrible idea.
well, I think, to be fair, I think it sort of works both ways. Yes, for depending on the event, I think streaming is a good idea. But look, you couldn't. I think maybe maybe we talked about this a while ago, but I remember there was it wasn't about Lavery's, it was some other club in Belfast, and they were like, oh yeah, every week we'll do the comedy club and it has like 50 people in it, and then we'll do a streaming link that will charge £3 for everything. And I was kind of against the idea because you can't have a functioning comedy club where comedians, veteran comedians or new comedians are going over there to try some material, try a new bit. Because if you try a new bit and it fucking falls hard, flops, like you want to have comfort that, I can get this out here and it's not going to really go anywhere else. I'm just testing out the waters. You can't really have that for a streaming show. So in that respect, I wouldn't agree with it. But look, if you were, it's funny too, because comedians, we like to put out like specials. We don't like to do like, I don't know. It would have to take like it has to take like a Kevin Hart to do like a stand-up one. I think the reason why boxing works is because it's already like a pay-per-view thing that exists out there.
Yeah.
And it's a sport, it's a special event, and it's for charity. And you also have like, there's so much hype around internet boxing at the minute. Like, I don't know if you pay attention to any of the stuff they do with like the influencer boxing and things like that. It's a huge market. So I know that off the back of that, that's another reason why this was probably a great idea. I say for the next one, we get the Southern comedians versus the Northern comedians.
Oh God, yeah.
That's a pay-per-view.
Don't pick Chris Kent. Don't pick
I've heard. No, I'm calling him out. I'm calling him out right now.
Fuck it. Yeah.
Chris, you've taken everything I've worked for, you bastard. Fuck, is he from Cork? Fuck Cork. Yeah. I hate it. No, actually, I don't want none of that. Chris, keep it to yourself, thanks. Andrew Ryan told me he sparred you once, and he still has night terrors about it. So
yeah. I've gone to a couple of. I brought him up to a boxing gym, and I knew he boxed a bit before, and there's such a difference between, throwing a punch and knowing how to throw a boxing punch. Like,
oh yeah,
and I'd been up there a while, and we both knew the one of the main boxers in there. It was a pro gym, so I was gone okay. But there's a difference between a month of and this guy who'd done it for maybe 7 or 8 years as a child. And you're just looking, and Chris just messing. It's just bending the bag with a fucking punch. I'm like, oh, hello. And next thing he's in, oh yeah, you used to box a fair bit. Like, I went, it shows. It shows. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. It's just you think it's such a fundamental, easy thing to do is just throw a punch. Like, it's your base instinct. Anybody could throw a punch. But to master the technique of throwing, defending, head movement, footwork, putting your arm into it, the right angle, it's such a science that people don't even realize.
Where were you were saying, because I was talking about coming on last week, where were you flying to? I'm just being a nosy bastard. Where were you flying to?
Oh, literally, it's not even that exciting, because with my other side of work, like I do some events and video production, things like that. I was in Birmingham just for a day. And I was actually also, another thing that I do is I do some teen motivation keynotes for a company called Lightbulb. And so I was just doing one of those for a company called WSP, who are an engineer, and they built the Shard in London, if you know what that is. So I was just delivering an inspirational keynote to those good fellows.
Brilliant. That's class.
Oh man, I do it. I have a real passion for invoicing. And if you've anything that involves giving me your money, I'll most likely do it within reason.
I get you. No, I'm right up there with you. The amount of people, the things I've been approached.
Play, you name it. I'm a mascot. I'll be a mascot. Sure, no problem. Whatever it is.
Whatever. whatever. Yeah, I don't mind invoicing because there's a joy in sending it off going, now that's the ball's in your court.
Yeah, exactly. But when you're a sort of freelance comedian and things like that, you'll try subsidize it because the comedy clubs can only do so much. You'll try do like bits of voiceover and radio and whatever you can lend your hand to, really, because it all ties into just becoming a better performer and more well-rounded and all that sort of jazz. Like, so yeah, I would do quite a few things. So that's what I was over in Birmingham for. Birmingham's apparently the second biggest city in the UK. I didn't know that.
Is it?
No.
I was briefly in it, and I think I was in a bit of a shit bit. That's all so I'm not coming away with a full notion that it's not a shit
It's
city.
all a shit bit. It's all
Is
a
it?
shit bit. Well, it's not great. Like, here's the thing: it's huge, big, but it's also just a bit like meh.
Oh, because I saw a very meh part. Now, I'm not judging you on just this, but I did. Deep down, I did. That what I saw was very meh, and went, well, I don't need to see. And you've got a strange accent that I don't need to. No, so none of it was any benefit to me whatsoever.
I think what it is, it's close enough to London, but far enough away from London. Basically, what it is, it's any business that doesn't want to pay to be situated in London goes to Birmingham. And they're like, this is where our headquarters is because it's still an hour away from London or whatever, but it's not London prices. And that's essentially why Birmingham exists as a place.
I think the first time I met you, you were part of a troupe, weren't you?
God, yes, this is going back 10 plus years ago. Yeah.
I think it must be 12 years ago, I'd say, in Edinburgh.
Yeah, easy. Oh, man. My origin story takes a many twists and turns, but I essentially started stand-up with Shane and all the other boys that you would see now. We did a TV show called Find Me the Funny, which was on BBC I was in that show, Mickey, Sean Haggerty, a load of other boys who were on it. And then did stand up for like a year or two. I was very young, 19, 20 at the time. When you're young doing stand up, it's a pain in the fucking hole because you're kind of standing up on stage trying to tell like your life experiences. Who are just looking at you going, shut the fuck up. You don't know anything about life, which is totally valid, by the way. And
yeah.
100%. So I just wasn't at the stage yet where I was enjoying it. And I was like, I'm going to stop this but I still like comedy. I still did like YouTube videos. I did the whole I had a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is 17 years old now or something like that. I have a YouTube channel older than, yeah. I had a YouTube channel back in 2005. Like that's the date it was registered to. Crazy. So I was doing like YouTube videos when I was 14, 15. Like I taught myself everything. And that's what I would do. I was inspired by like Saturday Night Live. So I would always like want to write my own sketches, and sketch comedy was how I sort of started. And then I got into stand-up. Then I went back to sort of doing sketches again. Joined with a troupe here who were called FNT Live. They were associated with a production company here called Green Ink. And Dave Elliott was in that troupe as well. That's how I met him. There's about 11, 12 of us. Diona Doherty was in that as well. And yeah, we did sketches for about a year. We had a run at the Fringe for the month and did a live sketch show there. And then, when you're trying to manage an 11-person sketch troupe, it is insane.
Oh my God,
because
I can only imagine.
Try get everyone to go to a one meeting together. It's not possible. It can't happen. So that's kind of why it disbanded for the most part, on top of a load of other shit. But for the most part, it's, people grow, move on, can't get the schedules to align. Everyone flocks off. After that, I was kind of a little bit lost. I was still doing my own thing on YouTube, still making little videos here and there, maybe not as frequently. Took a break for about 6 or 7 years from stand-up, and then just sort of got the urge and the itch to do it again. I went on a Shane Todd stag do, and he was drunk in Magaluf, just looking at me going, get back in the stand-up, get back in the stand-up. And I was like, all right, I'll give it another go. And then been back ever since, and I absolutely couldn't imagine never doing it again at this point.
Isn't it funny like that? The 7-8 years had to really pass. Do you know what I mean? Like they had to pass, because now you've got you're driving a different mental vehicle now. Not just that you have a whole pile of experience and stuff. You're actually in a different vehicle altogether now. You're like, that fucking, even I think about when I started, I think I was 27 or 28. So, and I'd had, even as a 27, 28-year-old, I'd had quite a lot of, I suppose, work experience with working with a lot of men that were older than me. So I had a grasp of older people. Mm-hmm. But when I think about it now, I'm like, the fuck was I going on about? Like, I didn't know how was
I know.
Like,
I know. And look, we'll probably look back at ourselves in 10 years and go, fuck me, 10 years ago, I still didn't know what I was talking about because you're constantly evolving and learning for that whole life process thing. But it was like, part of me has that debate in my head where I go, I took 7, 8 years off and then I came back, and that's when it felt like the right time to do stand
Mm.
up. And that's when stand up felt like good to me and right to me, and where I felt like I found a voice in my head that I could create funny with on stage live. But then I go, well, what if I just, when I was 21, 22, knuckled down, bird it out, did those 7, 8 years and didn't go away? Would I be better for it, worse for it? You can drive yourself crazy
Oh
thinking
yeah,
about it, but I just live in the present, go, look, it's good now. Whatever is whatever. Just enjoy each day as it comes. Enjoy each gig as it comes, because as COVID has taught us, we never know what is going to happen with gigs and live comedy and whatever.
but there's no real looking back like in it. But it is it's
Mm,
interesting. I've worked
yeah.
during times of COVID and stuff. I worked then back again with normal people, and I say normal people.
Anybody
Anybody who's not a comedian, 'cause
Do you take a
comedians,
normal job?
yeah, 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 yeah. Back
Yeah.
in only briefly in construction for a while, and you're meeting guys, and you're like, oh, you haven't even tried to fucking grow. And like you've been happy with 15-year-old you, and you're now 47-year-old you. Like
Oh,
you're still talking about fucking shit that you're
mm.
going. You want to put fucking spinners on your fucking car? Why? What are you talking, man? You've got a mortgage. Like, what do you do? Like, but it's interesting that we
Yeah.
are because we're continuously going. Oh Jesus Christ! I have to get better. You have to get better. You have to
You're
continue
never
keep on getting.
happy. You're
No,
never happy. Yeah, yeah. And look, but to be fair, that's kind of when it comes to comedy, that's like the last thing you want to do in comedy is go, I'm good,
yeah,
completed it. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
know
yeah, yeah,
everything.
yeah.
It's fine. The you need to have that little bit of edginess where you go, fuck, I'm getting shot now. I need to get the motor going again, the brain and the muscle memory flowing for it all. Need to be writing more. And I think if you're doing that, you're doing all right.
I think now in saying that I'm not overly negatively speaking about this man because he
Mm.
was very happy with his life. If you know what I mean, like he was in his head, he was an absolute fucking ledge. Still, that he was. So I
Yeah,
was like, there's a lot to
yeah,
be said for that. Yes, you go to the
yeah.
exact same place on holiday every year with the same fucking people because you all have your little rented apartment. I would
Right.
sooner fucking run face long into a fucking pebble dash wall with my cock out. Like, are you like? It
That's
was
a
fuck.
TikTok video.
Oh, now you're
I'd love to
talking.
see it. I'd
Yeah.
love to see it. That's
No.
that's where it's at. But yeah, look, I suppose everyone, look, it's cliche as fuck, but everyone is different, and some people are happy enough just coasting, clocking in the 9 to 5, doing the call center thing, doing the fucking shift worker thing, whatever it is, blah blah blah, and then they just get their pension and fuck off or die, whatever it is. And nothing wrong with that at all. If that's what makes you happy, that's fine. I wouldn't judge anyone at all for that. But yeah, for me, it seems like you were saying, the absolute idea of hell. You get one life, you get one shot at it. You may as well do what the fuck it is that you really truly want to do passionately, and give it a shot. Because do you want to wake up at 70 years old and be like, fuck?
Well, tell me this: do you think it's a nature nurture thing, or is it a genetic thing? You're born with that hunger to break
Mm.
out. Like when you were in, was it St. Kieran's or St. Kevin's in West Belfast? Like when they were going, all right, you need to just get on the tools, lads. I'm just telling you that, mates. Get on the tools, become a brickie, retire with a bad back at 48. You'll be fine, and don't ever step outside your lines. Or was there? Do you know? Or was it
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a
yeah.
moment where you went, I'll try this, and it was a
Mm.
sliding doors moment, and all of a sudden now your brain is going bum, 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 bum. But you were making
Yeah,
videos, so what happened? How did that come about? Do you think?
I think it's got to be, maybe it's either a bit of both, or look, when I look at my background and I look at the area I grew up on the Falls Road. I went to the flipping most average primary school. I went to an average secondary school. I was the only one in my second school to even go to uni out of my entire class that did A levels and whatever else. And I think that's kind of genetic to an extent, because the way I think just has always been a little bit different. Like I've never succumbed to peer pressure at all. I've never drank in my entire life, even though I'm from West Belfast. And it's like indoctrinated into you that when you turn 14, have a fucking cider. Nothing against it, by the way. People think I've some sort of weird religious cult thing going on, or that my dad touched me. Nothing like that. I mean, he did, but nothing like he didn't. But nothing like that happened. He did. No, he did. He did.
I'm gonna
But
I'm gonna grab that as a soundbite. Just keep
no,
on playing
dude.
it over and over and over. He
Dude,
did.
it's
He
my
didn't. No, he
ringtone.
didn't.
It's my ringtone. But that, well, that's the other sort of, to take a spiral off where we're going here. But when you tell people in Ireland you don't drink, they immediately assume something has went wrong. I assure you, I'm very sane.
Oh
Well,
yeah, like only that you're clearing it up for me now. I would have thought, oh, he went too hard at it. He fucking broke it. He broke it.
yeah,
He
yeah.
broke the drinking himself. Fuck's sake. He broke
Yeah,
his drink.
people say there has to be a real dark history or path, but genuinely just couldn't give a fuck about it. So then I go, I've never succumbed to peer pressure. I've always sort of thought a little bit differently. I like what I like, and I don't really care if someone tells me they don't like it type that. It's
Yeah.
whatever, you know what I mean? So there's some kids in school who like like for example, I was a big lover of, like Father Ted, Whose Line Is It Anyway, Channel 4, fucking all these like beautiful comedy shows. And kids in my school didn't really give a fuck about. They were more, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and cartoon,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah. But even at such a young age, I wasn't afraid to just stand up and say, oh, this is what I sort of feel like and what I like and whatever else. And so for that reason, I think it is, but it can't be nurtured. I think parents have a lot to do with it. And look, I grew up with two of the fucking best parents in the world. I'm probably the luckiest person when it comes to parents and families. And they always sort of just said to me, look, you don't have to do what everyone else does. Find whatever, they knew from a young age that I love to dance about and sing about. And, I love plays and theater and stuff like that. And they sort of were
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, they said they lean into it, enjoy it. And teachers in school were kind of good with it too. Like when we got our first computer in school, I was kind of just naturally gravitationally intrigued by it. And so the teacher was like, oh, if you like that, you just sit on it, because no other kid gives a fuck about this. Back in the day when yeah, Jada is back in the day where like you could only open like Microsoft Paint. Kids didn't know what computers were when I was
Yeah.
growing up. And so I was always naturally curious in that respect, and because of that maybe nurtured me a little bit to be tech savvy and video savvy and get into the more creative aspect of things, and that's where the YouTube channel comes in. But oh man, I took a lot of bullying and slagging for that. Like having a YouTube channel and going into school and all the kids are watching it and making fun of your videos and fucking, like talking about trying to do something different, and then you're getting embarrassed. And man, being 15, 16 years old growing up, that's a hard age to be like that. But I just, I had so much love coming from my mom and dad that I think that just sort of coasted me through.
Yeah. Well, that's that. It quite often when I look into it, it's either an adversity thing that guys going that way, or
Yeah.
they were utterly nurtured by parents who were like, oh yeah, don't give a fuck about it. Yeah. Because I was
Yeah.
lucky that very much a
Yeah.
mother anyway. Like dad was always, but dad never gave a bollocks. He was like, oh yeah, oh Jesus, yeah. You haven't stolen it, have you? No. Will it cost me money? No. Fuck it, drive on, you. There was like, so it just intrigues me. So when I find lads who from a young age give a go at things, it was like, oh, I want, and especially because you grew up in an area that was, let's be honest, very fucking cliche. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
There was a
Oh
one
yeah.
track motive, and not many. Now, in saying that, if you weren't involved in agriculture where I grew up, then
Uh,
what in the name of fuck are you trying to do with yourself? Like,
yeah.
like if you
Yeah.
did go to college, it was to do something further yourself in agriculture or construction, one or the other. That was it. There was no deviating from it. Like I've met
Yeah.
lads who, hate their job. I did civil engineering, and
Mm.
they're now civil engineers, but it aged you like so badly because there's so much stress
Right.
involved. And they like,
Yeah.
I met one guy not so long ago after a gig, and he was actually furious with me, like genuinely
Mm.
going, "But fucking why? Like, why are you doing this now?" Like, and it was just because he couldn't vocalize,
Process.
he couldn't
Yeah.
process it, nor he could not vocalize, hey, fuck, I hate what the
Mm.
position I'm in. The wife hates me. I don't know my
Yeah.
kids. You know what I mean? this fucking job is doing my nut in and I can find no way out. How the fuck did you do it? You know, but he
Yeah.
couldn't. All he could shout angrily at me. Oh, fuck you, Tom. You fucking prick, you know?
Yeah, happy bastard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and you know what, like again, where I came from, it was you were either a joiner, electrician, you worked in a bar, or you got someone pregnant at 18 and that was your life. You know what I mean? It was like that was the options. And I would say 95% of kids who I was in primary school with did all of the above, you know. Even the girls, even the fellas got pregnant. That's how potent West Belfast is.
Well, I was going to ask because I'd heard the rumors. Yeah, that dudes
Oh,
can
well, you
like.
know Paddy McDonald. You know Paddy McDonald. Paddy's sperm was like lava.
Paddy could make himself pregnant if he even tried for a half a second. He could make himself pregnant. He's that virile. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Like he's
Unbelievable.
like he only
Yeah.
got tattoos to actually log them. That's all it is. Of their names. It's nothing to do with love. It's logging his
Yeah.
stock. He basically is stable.
Logging his stock on his cock. It's a poem for Paddy McDonald's life. That'll be on his grave. That'll be on his grave. But Paddy at the age of 15 I think was banned from every girls' secondary school just because if he got even a mile within distance, a girl could get pregnant.
Spores. I believe spores would just semen in
yeah.
spore form would actually emanate from him, I believe. Yeah.
The super spreader of babies.
I had to head straight to the doctor. I shared a van with him actually. He picked me up in his van one day.
I've did the Paddy van before. Please tell me your experience.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you the most bizarre, right? And I blew Paddy's mind because I said, Paddy, do you have a taxi number? I said, out in, is it Stonyford? It's a small.
Yes.
Yeah, I was out in Stonyford. I said, I need to get back into the main train station in the city. He says, what the fuck? Now, in fairness to him, he didn't ask too many questions, which is great. You know, Paddy's background, like he didn't ask what I was doing there, because let's be honest, with a surname like and an accent like mine, I don't have much business to being in a place like that. They enjoy a good flag. They do.
Yeah. Oh, you can say that. They enjoy something.
They enjoy something, and
it's not Catholics.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he rocks on, and I'm parking up a bright yellow Ferrari. It's four. I know, a brand new it wasn't. Sorry, it was a bright yellow 430 Ferrari. I'm parking up, and he's like, "The fuck? Did you steal it?" No, I didn't. Why would you think I stole it? He's because you rang me randomly. I came running from the job because you sounded like you're under pressure. I said, I wasn't. I said, just wondering if you. He goes, well, you said, and now you got this. And we're here. What the fuck? Okay, so jump in. So at the time, what it was a company I was involved with for maybe 5 or 6 years, and it was a lovely side gig. And I had a tiny, I suppose, share in it, but a tiny share. We had four Ferraris and a Lamborghini, and we had an Aston Martin briefly, but it didn't sell well. The product was, Aaron, you would buy this for your dad, like, or your mother, who was a car enthusiast, for either one's day, and they would come with me for 45 minutes, and I would show them how to drive it, and we would get them all cleared, the whole lot, fill out the form and everything else. I would eyeball them, sit them in, and we'd have a cut. And I was dropping one of these up to a guy that we were employing to do it in Belfast. And it's always, these experiences, like, but I sat in, I wouldn't tell Paddy for nearly a full drive what it was about, like. So he just starts talking. He just starts talking, secretly dragging out of me. I was like, look, I'll tell you when I can tell you, Paddy. And he just starts telling me his fucking life story just to try and get me fucking talking, like. But
that's fantastic.
It was such a. I think he was so deflated when I did tell him what. Oh no, it's just a thing. It's not. When I did tell him what it was oh, for fuck's sake! I was hoping you had robbed it off some old prod and you were dropping it back. Like, no.
That's so. Would they get to use the car for the full day? Was that the experience, or was it literally just you got to go in the car with them for 45 minutes?
You might have 7 or 8 people lined up in a day, and there would be a meeting point. So we had now branched into Belfast. We were doing the main cities, like we were doing Cork, Galway, and Dublin, and it was a UK based company, and but the UK was saturated with this stuff. There was a rake of them doing it, but nobody in Ireland was doing it. So
Gotcha.
then we started getting into Belfast. There was a guy, I used to be a good driver, like he was a good race car driver, and that's where he was based. So he was coming to meet me, and he was going to put it away in his lockup for the weekend. But this was like a Thursday or something. So I just shaking hands with him, left it in his driveway. So you know it's to take it up there. You're fully insured and all the rest of it. Take it up there. So it was a great gig. It was a great gig. Like, I mean, it would get monotonous because they would all ask the exact same questions. You know what I mean? After, and because it's an experience, you can't go, yeah, can you just fucking Wikipedia this? You can't. You are the guy they meet, so each time it needs to be special for them. Like, you know, so it in itself would nearly teach you. It was like a fucking Edinburgh run, and that you're putting on the show each fucking time from, like, you know. But,
yeah, trying to slip in some jokes in there as best as you can.
Oh,
then you get
Jesus
sick
Christ.
of the routines. It's like an actual gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your paddy van experience?
My paddy van experience was I did a support for him at one of his tour shows down in, it was a place, what was it called? Castle Derg, which is like in the arsehole of Northern Ireland. I mean, it put like this: it takes 2 hours 20 minutes to get to it from Belfast. I can get to Dublin quicker than I can get to this fucking place. Yeah. So I was like, we drove down. Paddy was like, "Oh, I'll drive us," and I thought we were going in his car. He's a nice car, and he's like, "I want to bring the van." This big fucking white van turns up. Paddy Paddy drives it like it's a sports car.
Yeah.
Paddy doesn't like, yeah. He doesn't drive it like it's a nice, big van. He drives it like it's a dainty he drives like a moped essentially. So then he but the best, bless him, he might hate me telling this, but look, I'll tell him anyway. But what happened was he pulled into a garage to get himself a drink. He got himself like a bottle of Lucozade or whatever, froze it on the dashboard of the van. It's a big dashboard. Starts driving down the motorway at 70 miles an hour, whatever. Big steering wheel, he's driving away. Goes to get a drink, goes to grab the Lucozade, but realizes his arm is too short and his belly is too big. So the Lucozade. So I'm sitting at the front and I'm literally, but the best thing was Tom, he's like, so I'm seeing it from this angle. He tried to do one of these. He tried to go to try and get it. He tried to do like a wee, it just wasn't helping anything. And he eventually had to pull into a hard shoulder, get out of the car physically just to grab the Lucozade bottle. And I was like, oh, Paddy, that's the most heartbreaking but beautiful, tragic thing I've seen in my life.
It's like watching a T-Rex trying to hug his child.
Yes, yes. He's just all thirsty. He's like, he just wanted to look at it. Couldn't get it. Oh man. It's little moments like that happen in life. There you go. Life's good. Life's good.
And see, most people wouldn't log that. Isn't that weird? Most people wouldn't log that at all. That wouldn't be on the file, even if you put them under. If you put them under, you couldn't find that in their database. But you logged it immediately. Went, that's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. That's fucking beautiful. Park that, put that in the head. Right, that'll be needed.
I think why it happened as well is because just before this, me and Paddy were having a conversation, and you know what Paddy's like. Paddy can talk for fucking days on end, and comes off with some genius stuff. But was talking to me, I don't know where he just goes, "Did you know 7 out of 10 people are pedophiles?" And I was like, now hold on, Paddy. I was like, Paddy, you say some facts these days. I know you have Paddy facts and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to call you bullshit on that one, Paddy, because that would mean 70% of the world's population are all pedophiles. Strong
possibility between the two of you, actually, one of you was a pedo, based on that. Strong possibility.
Oh, both of us. 2 out of
you cancel
2
each other
people
out.
In this van are pedophiles. But yeah. So I think maybe he said that, and then the Lucozade bottle incident happened, and I was like, we're only 10 minutes into this drive and we've another 2 hours and 10. What else can possibly happen here while we're on the way to this gig?
That's fucking John Candy and Steve Martin. Like, that is just off the races. You're like, right. Yeah. We are off the races.
Yeah, this is a potential movie plot waiting to happen at any point here. But yeah, you gotta love Paddy. Like, he's a one of a kind character who you'll never really meet anywhere else in life.
But I'd say you strike me as a fellow who'd be good on holidays. You're a holiday
man.
Oh
yeah.
You're a good,
love it.
I'm not great. I've never been great on holidays. I don't find enough. enough obscurity that I enjoy. Like I've been plenty of places, but for some
Right.
reason, a lot of the time I'd go, okay, I'll take away one nugget from that entire holiday. That'll be definitely great. Like, but nor if I end up in places I shouldn't be, that's great. Do you know what I mean? I remember I was in Florida for a month,
Hmm.
and I have cousins who live there, and they're from there. They don't just live there, but they my
Yeah.
cousin's husband brought me to where he's originally from, and it was right. We're talking Dukes of Hazard County shit, dirt roads, like
Love it.
lads' fucking shoes were optional. Do you know what I mean? Like there was
Yeah,
teeth
yeah.
were not necessary either. Like, but we went to this. I suppose it was like an outback fucking looking restaurant bar, like the Boar's Nest in the original fucking Dukes of Hazard.
Mm, mm.
And I never have like I remember talking about it on stage, but only when there was ever Americans in the audience, like going, Jesus Christ, ye are like the fact that you're here, you were able to get out of your country. I was in Florida and straight away, oh Jesus Christ, and I mean Florida, like not a place you've heard
Not
of.
Disney. Yeah.
This was. I remember a guy just overheard me. I remember smoking a fag at the door, and he overheard me. Just, and again, apropos of nothing, no intro, and just being classic American. I don't need an intro here. He just walked over. You Scottish or something? Because you talk funny. I went, like, and said like one hand on the fucking gun because it was an open carry kind of a place. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
no, yep. Will that solve the situation if I am? I like Braveheart, and I'm like, then we are. Then I am, yes. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
going into they ended up fucking like they had this. They were actually eating bugs. Like bugs were on the menu. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
crickets?
big, big,
Crickets?
big fucking crickets, deep fried crickets, and they didn't call them that. They
Oh,
called them
man.
something adorable, like
Mm.
happy pie or so. You know, and I'm going, well, this sounds like I can't go wrong with this. This big bowl of shite comes out like some sort of chili and all these little legs sticking out, and I for the love of fuck. But I enjoyed that. Did I give
Mm.
two fucks about the beach? Or like once you see one, you know what I mean? I just went, ah, but this is where you're meant to be, like this is what
Rural America. You like rural America?
well, I just even I really like we went on our honeymoon and in April of when we got married. And
Yeah.
I'd been abroad 9 times already that year. And I said to
Oh,
Natasha,
God.
can we just fucking not go to another fucking airport? And she's like, oh, Jesus, I'm fine. I'm fine with wherever you want to go. I said, because I cannot queue behind another overweight English woman going, I don't know about the funny money they have here. I'm going, oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
So
fucking
we went to
hell.
Mayo and turned off our phones for a week. And the bizarre people, when you don't plan a day, like I remember being convinced by this old woman with a better beard than both of us that I should buy an
Mm.
anvil off her. And I did. Do you know, like, and I have no use for an anvil, but there was,
How much is an anvil?
he only charged me 40 quid for it. As I since found out, it's a good 200 quid's worth of an anvil. It was a really good
Oh,
anvil.
well,
Yeah.
look, that's a good deal in fairness, but it's more
I had to
bizarre
drive
that
around
you
it for the
own an
rest of the
anvil.
week. I had to drive around it for the rest of the week. This was day
Yeah,
two.
looking like you're working on the production crew of fucking Roadrunner.
Actually,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
you strike me as a fellow who does well on holidays. Like,
I travel great. I know how to travel. Now,
do you?
what I will say is I throw a lot of money unnecessarily at travel. And the reason being is because, so for example, I was
You're
talking
not
about
paying
doing
for anybody
some,
else. It's just you. So
well, that kind of helps. But like I was saying, I do these keynote conferences and things like that for inspiration, teamwork, all this sort of stuff.
love
And,
it.
so, for example, one was in Philadelphia last year. When I do these conferences, they're paying for my flight's business. They're paying for the lounge. They're paying for the suite in the hotel. They're paying, and then I also get the
Beautiful.
option to, if I want to add on 5 days and get my flight home at a later date, I can do that. And then just out of my own money, do whatever activities I want to do. But I'm quite lucky in that I, number one, quite often get it paid for. Like I went to Dubai for free on business and all this sort of stuff. Beautiful and great stuff. And I'm the most lucky, privileged arsehole ever. I'm well aware of that while I'm saying this. Like I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me. Like I'm very grateful for everything. But yeah, so when I travel myself, then I quite often splash out a little bit. Have you ever heard of platinum services, Tom?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Came
I've
across.
I've I've done that a
Yeah.
few times.
I
Let me
came.
tell you, that's another level.
That's another level. Yeah. Yeah. It's back. You see, back once upon a time, I used to own 2
Mhm.
tuxedos. Aaron, I was in your shoes once upon a time. because a man never
Right.
knows
Is
when
this
he
my
needs.
future? Am I future you? Just carrying anvils around me, trying to use chopsticks,
Oh,
being
you'll
like,
burn
fuck.
out. You will burn out all the good stuff. Eventually, you'll get to the end of. You're like,
Soon.
do I need
Yeah.
another velour tracksuit? You're fucking right, you do, Aaron. Thanks, Aaron. Let's get on with it.
Yeah.
There will
Yeah,
go,
yeah, yeah. I
but
get
it
it.
will. You'll hit a wall after a while and go, yeah.
Sure. I get it. I know
But
it's coming. It's coming.
maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe you'll continue. I just don't want to see you in your 50s with a comb over, still, rocking the latest shit. And you're going, your kids are wearing that as well. Who'd you think? Who'd you think I borrowed this from?
Yeah. It still fits. I'm a small guy. Yeah, I get you. I understand.
But tell
But
me
yeah,
your
so
latest platinum experience. Come on. Where were you?
well, the last time was I was going to Florida last year for a conference for a big pharmaceutical company called Merck, who are like one of the
Oh yeah,
biggest.
they're
Like if
huge
you
here in Tipshire. They have a huge place in Clonmel.
oh
Yeah,
genuinely,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, man, like ridiculous. The money I've seen, it's incredible. They have a great operation. But so I flew for platinum with them, and who is in platinum services the same time as me, but one and only Harry Styles.
Of course,
The of course,
yeah, of
just
course he
rocking
was.
about.
Yeah,
I didn't go near him or anything like that because he was quite well guarded, and he has, if platinum is like your own little room and stuff like that. So I didn't knock on his door per se, but it was just when I was going in, the guy who knows us, I can't remember his name, but he would always like be friendly and talk to us and stuff. Guy who works in platinum service, and he just goes, Harry Styles is in the day. I mean, I was looking, going, pretty sure you shouldn't have told any of us that, but look, I'll thank you for the information. I'll just wait around the foyer now like a fanboy for the next 2 hours. But I didn't. I let Harry have his peaceful day like he should be entitled to, because he's a person too, Tom. But yeah, so I did that. It's just, it's
debatable.
great. It's
I,
debatable.
but you see, he picked his battles too. You're not a 14-year-old girl, so he was sure as shit wasn't going to say that. You're walking in, you've got a beard on. He doesn't know if you're going to go, what now?
Tom, don't you gender me.
Oh,
don't you misidentify me.
I knew this would happen one day. I knew this was.
It's got you.
I've
We
had
got you.
transgender people on this podcast, so that I'm some way. I'm awakening. If I'm not woken, I'm awakening. I'm fucking rolling over. I've got one eye open, and I can see the future, and that's not good for me. People like me.
Finally, clip this. Put it on fucking all the Irish press websites. This is you done. Career over. Back to cars. Back to your Ferraris.
oh, please no. Oh.
Yeah. Oh no. Out of curiosity, what do you actually think of Ferraris driving them? I've been in one, but I've never drove one.
It depends what you want to do. Like, go for a drive in it, you're a fucking idiot. Like, any of these cars, they're all fucking idiots cars. Like, they're brutal things.
They are.
Get yourself a Subaru Forester with 400 and put 400 horsepower. Like, you'll do the same thing in comfort. All these cars, they've hardened the fuck out of them. They're heartbreakers because they will break down because they're so highly tuned.
Yes.
Do you know, like, we've all dated a great looking partner of some sort.
I love how you're not saying woman or man now. You're like,
exactly.
Live and learn. He's learning. It could be anything.
It could be it could be anything. Whatever. You could be dating a fucking lamppost and go on you. Good on you. But
yeah, get you.
But they're fucking wild and it's great crack. But like, if you want to sit down with a bag of fucking Doritos, just the two, and go fucking handy and watch shite, but they're kicking you and they're fucking, why the fuck are you fucking not paying me all the fucking attention you were when we were in? That's a Ferrari. Like, they're fucking lovely, but put that thing away till Sunday, like, and take it for a rip when nobody is around. Like, because it's all these, but they're the best. They're the best. Like, as race cars go, and I know fellas that go, well, I've driven a lot of these things, because you get invited to a lot of these launches, and you get invited because they wanted us to sell us more of these shit. Like, Lamborghinis are the biggest load of bollocks that has ever been created. Oh, load of shit. Like, they're
Aston Martin are shit, aren't they?
They are, yeah. They're a load of shit.
Because I used to do some video work for like Aston Martin and Ferrari and all the rest of them. And you would walk into the service area of all these cars and you'd go, oh, that car was sold 6 months ago, and now it's in a service area. Like imagine buying like a brand new Hyundai i30 or whatever, and then it goes into a service area 6 months later, brand new. It would never happen. But if it's an
No.
Aston Martin, they're like, oh yeah, it's normal. I fucking, oh yeah, the disc caliber, everything's fucked on that model. And they're just so casual about it.
But this is the other side of it too, is that you get ridden hard by these people that are selling you. Like there was a guy that we used in Dublin, and he was very much a realist mechanic, but he did supercars. But he was an engineer too. He'd go, I'll see, can I make the part? Because it's only a tiny little thing, but they'll want to sell you this whole thing. And he would, and he'd a couple of race car builders working for him who would actually engineer these things. But he'd be a realist. He very reasonably priced, like underpriced for, like, he was stunning garage, Snow White. But I remember going in there, and there was this guy back from the UK with a McLaren P1, ludicrous, £500,000 of car at the time, I'm sure. And there was like water staining out on the underneath, just what on this piece of metal, and brought it to McLaren in London where he bought it, and they went, oh yeah, it's the water pump, 24 grand. And they wouldn't even tell him the price. They were like, it's the water pump, Paddy, basically is what they were saying. Your man was like, oh, the fucking horse now. How the fuck is the water pump gone on a fucking car that I haven't hardly driven to the end of the fucking road? I've barely taken that thing anywhere. Like, oh, so we'll change it. Give you another one. He was like, no, it's you know what? I'm going to risk it. I'm going to take it back to see my mum anyway in Dublin. Brought it to your man. It was literally condensation marks. There was no leaking whatsoever. 24,000.
Wow.
Yeah, they would have put in, or maybe they would have put in a new one. Who knows? But you're getting people who are coming. There's being sold to people who can afford them. If you have to think about the price tag, because they're getting sold to people who go, oh yeah, whatever. Like, why would you tell me the price? Just fucking make the ghost thing happen. I just need it to go. Because the majority of people that buy these cars, they can't drive them. They can't drive them. Like,
yeah,
I took a Ferrari owner out in Belfast in one. It was a red one that we had up there, and it was, you want to see that, like, that lad, he lost 7-8 years of his life in 10 minutes, like, with the way I took him.
Oh really?
Like,
Really?
Why would you push it like that? I went, what the fuck are they for? The fuck are they for? Like, and he was all this guy wanted to do was tip up around the city in it, looking the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all it is, looking cool.
Like, I knew I had to do this to him because his teeth were whiter than ivory. And I'm like, it just doesn't. But, and that's a segue.
Hey, I like it. Nice.
Where you would find ivory. Your new show, Africa. I fucking love that you went, because all I'm thinking is the song, which I love. Tell me, Africa, why? Did you platinum service? Did you give one for McGabby's people or something? Please tell me, because I've given some of these talks, but never to companies that size. They'll plowing championship typically, or maybe like Roscommon or something. But I've never been. Am I wrong, or do you just love that?
Roscommon's a big deal. Yeah,
it is a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Few reasons. Number one, I did one of those fucking hokey cokey DNA tests on the internet that people do, and it tells you, like, you're 5% Swedish, 18% French, or whatever. Mine may or may not, don't spoil the show, but there may or may not have been a percentage of me that is part African. And so the show's kind of built around that idea that, hey, this is because I'm African, this is the sort of stuff I should be able to get away with, even though, really I'm a Catholic boy from West Belfast,
Why, you're like, literally, if they plug the two of us into some, like, just actually they go, I can't tell which one is which. I can't. On the other side of the room, blue-eyed, fucking fair-faced fuckers.
Yep.
But I love it. I love it.
So yeah. So it's a bit of an irony there. And then the other reason is because last year I did go to Africa. I went to Uganda to do some, like, charity work over there. And from that, I do a whole tie-in where it's me basically returning back home. And it's me. It's kind of like, if you can imagine, like, it's
skirting paths along the edge of so many.
Oh man, there's so many parts.
Is he gonna
there's
say
so
it?
many.
Is he gonna say
yeah.
He's gonna do the voice, isn't he? He's gonna do the voice.
There's so here's the thing. In 5 years' time, this will be the show that cancels me. I'm well
Oh
aware of it,
yeah,
but
like
it's well worth doing in that respect too. But yeah, so it's kind of like a reverse if you think Coming to America, where Eddie Murphy's character goes and tries to fit in New York, whatever. It's kind of like that a little bit, but then there's also just experiences from life and the usual shtick that you get from stand up. But yeah, that's kind of the theme of the show. And I thought for the poster and the marketing and the branding, I wanted to be really like, Lion King, Black Panther, like really fucking just cool cinematic African looking shit. And that's what I liked.
and that's yeah. And so if anybody has seen the poster, you'll understand exactly what he's talking about. He fits in seamlessly as a fucking colonial fucking landowner. That's what you do.
Oh, you wait until I get this plate in my lip, and then we'll see who's laughing. And we'll
I
see.
thought your neck looked a little longer than the last time I saw you. All right.
It's the rings are doing me great. The rings are doing me great. Imagine I just went that far and did that for the show. Got a full
A
lip.
good litmus test will be see if we get cancelled just because of this podcast episode. That's
Oh, look, there's many. If it's not this one, there's a whole backlog of either Shane Todd or Andrew Ryan's or somewhere that I'll get cancelled for. And we're on borrowed time already. Tom is the way I look at it.
To be fair, I think there'll be a little island for all of us eventually where we'll find ourselves.
Epstein's. Hopefully.
Imagine
I've heard it's good. I've heard it's good.
Imagine the Northern Irish version, the Irish version of an Epstein's Island, just some cold bastard of a place where all they have is like food that you've been yearning for, but you were never allowed to have because there's no way you're getting your hands on any fucking good stuff. Like you're going, and you don't get to fly there. You go out in like a fucking rowboat, like just
yeah, you have to take 2 boats. You have to get a tram. There's a whole system. It's very awkward and inconvenient to get to. It's like Father Ted's Island, Craggy Island.
So when is the first? Are you touring it? I know you're doing Lavery's. You had to add an extra date, which is a great news.
First date sold out. Thanks everyone that bought a ticket for that. Second date is on the bank holiday weekend up here, so that is the 7th of May. So the king will be getting coronated that weekend, and then the African king will also be getting coronated for myself, and then we will have a big party. So yeah, there's no, if you're thinking, oh, it's a Sunday night, I'll have to go to work on a Monday. You don't. It's a bank holiday.
The king has given it to you off.
I have had off. You're welcome. Okay. You enjoy my show instead. Fuck the king. And yeah, so yeah, that's the crack with it. So I'm excited, really excited. It's my first solo show. A lot of hard work over the last few years going into it, up and down the country, supporting every fucker that I've been supporting. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I would love to do more dates with it. We'll worry about that maybe in the summertime. I'll do one up in Derry, perhaps. Love to do one down south, but we'll have to figure that out at some point. But yeah.
I could hook you up with a great place in Cork. You should, for the crack, bring it to Cork.
Yeah.
It'll sell. It'll sell, regardless of being well known or not.
Really?
Yeah, it'll sell.
All right. Fuck it. I'll do it.
What I'm demanding of you, though, is because you're techie, you're handy, and you have loads of time in your hands for stupid shit. I do want, just like the King of Zamunda, I want I want a banknote with your face on it. I want a banknote with your face on it. That's all I want.
Yes, Tom. You promise I will make that happen. That's a great idea. I'm writing that down.
Where you're kind of looking off in a kind of a I don't want you looking straight at it. I want you looking off in and a brief nugget of info that will be of no use to you ever. But for years, when I was doing the driving thing, right, you get Polish lads because of course they drive I love fast cars, and every one of them would tell you, I'm thinking of buying one, and you're like, sure, look it, stop lying. So you'd have to take their license and write it down, and all their licenses they're looking off, and I always thought,
wow,
is it from the communist past? Are you looking back to Moscow? What is it, right? I had to say it to one fella one day, why are every one of you lads from Eastern Europe, you're all looking off to the fucking right? What's the fucking crack? Is it to fucking, it's like, because of ear. I says, because, did you say something that I don't understand? He says, ear. We all show our ear. I says, you show your ear. So here's the thing. Every ear in the world, Aaron, is like a fingerprint.
That's right. I know that. Yeah, that's right.
They've had technology forever to be able to map your ear. So they were,
Yeah.
so you could look like your brother, but the two of you will never, so there's no changing of license. You show ear to camera for photograph, it is you. So even if your fucking nose fall off, they know it's you. So it's like, and here was me
Wow.
thinking, all I could hear was, oh, do, 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 do. Turns out it's their fucking ear they're showing to the camera. It was such a disappointment in one way, but like cool, you know.
But yeah.
So I want
Crafty, smart.
I want to see that with your hand inside
Yeah.
your jacket pocket, your coat. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Looking regal, maybe up at like like maybe 100 degrees, like a 90 straight out, 100 degrees, just looking off,
Yeah,
like maybe
yeah.
a picture of yourself. That's what I'm thinking you're looking at, and that's what I want to see.
You got it. I'll do that for you. And if people want to buy tickets, the URL is aaronbutlertickets.com. That's as easy as that.
It's still open, so I'll put it as Jesus Christ. It's probably fucking sold out before the end of this podcast, but I will put it.
Jesus.
Go down into the show notes below this, everybody. Click on through and go buy a ticket. Go if you know
Thanks,
what's
buddy.
good for you. Because
if you know what's good for
if you don't want to look at Sausage Fingers getting his fucking his hand, go look at the true king. Go look at the true king.
Yeah. Go look at true. If you don't want to see Charles jizz all over Camilla's wrinkly old fucking dude, you fucking get yourself.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. That's
you wouldn't mind seeing that? That's an OnlyFans. That's an OnlyFans page. Yeah. If you don't want to see that, come to me instead. And look, if you want to see history being made, if you want to see a comedian get cancelled in real time, come see the show.
Oh, that's well worth.
Come see the show. That's a
tagline.
That's a great marketing tagline. I'm writing that down. Yeah. Yes. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, Tom.
Good on you. Aaron, you're an absolute legend. Thanks a million for coming on.
Chucky Arla, Tom. Chucky Arla.
Thank you very much, Mr. Butler, Aaron. His new show, like we were talking about it's going to be in Lavery. So if you can look down the show notes, there is a ticket link there to his show, Africa. Hey, like he said, he's most likely going to get cancelled. Great. There's nothing we want more as comedians than the notoriety of getting cancelled for something that was actually funny in the first place. Look at, he's a good man and a great chat. Thank you very, very much. Like I said, become a Patreon for all the benefits you get. See me at the 25th over at the Hill, my comedy club in Cahir in County Tipperary. And look at, go on away, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Don't be at yourself too much. And I'll chat to you again next week. Good night and blessed thanks.